Yo, what is going on, guys? This is your boy TrevCL, and we are back with another week of the TBU. Now, I know this is a day late, but unfortunately, RTK and I weren't able to have our battle until yesterday, and then I was not able to get my battle recorded until about 10 or 11 p.m. My time, and by the time I got it recorded, it wasn't worth, like, putting in the hour of recording, editing, and uploading just to get it in right by the deadline. So I just decided I'd upload it today, just a day late. It's not the biggest deal in the world at all. So but last week we did suffer a loss against Ethan and his Tennessee Dynamos, and I did not play terribly well. I also didn't really like my commentary for that game. That was probably one of my worst commentaries I've had over a video in a long time. I didn't care for it too much. But this week we are playing RTK and his Portland Timburrs. A very scary squad indeed, but very physical. As you can see, his 6 Mons he brought, out of those 6 Mons, Vinny is special, and then Electivire can go special, but its physical attack is way higher. And even Minshao can go special, but again, that's pretty much 99% of the time a physical attacker. And it was just, his whole roster was pretty physical as well. He left things like Metagross on the bench, which was a little surprising, not gonna lie, because of things like Huron Black, Scolipede. Like, having Metagross around for those would have been like really nice. So a little bit interesting. I also left Gourgeist on the bench just because I, again, was pretty busy this last week, so I kind of forgot to put in my bench swap. So no Gourgeist, but that's fine because Max Fizdef P2 is going to take on the Zygarde very well. And just to round things off, let me go quickly over my team. The full team will be in the description below. But I am actually bringing in triple Rocky Helmet, and I'll say what Rocky Helmet is on which Mons. First, we have a lead Focus Sash, Scolipede, Poison Jab, Baton Pass, Protect, and T-Spikes. His entire team is really weak to T-Spikes, and Vinny is his Defogger, especially in this game. And he could be Defog and Arrow as well, but I'm not expecting it. Next, we have a Rocky Helmet, Mixed Defense Registeel with Stealth Rock, Iron Head, Toxic, and Seismic Toss. Seismic Toss is there for the Finny because, you know, it has no recovery, and if I'm able to get Seismic Toss, will do always at least like 30% to Finny, so that's always very useful. Next, we have a Fizdef Musharna with Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam, Psyshock, and Moonlight. This was here to kind of help me. It was almost, if Umbreon wasn't toxic, Umbreon was used as setup fodder. But he didn't bring Umbreon, but you know, Musharna can still possibly put in a little work. Next, we have a Max Fizdef P2 with Ice Beam, Charge Beam, Thunderbolt, and Recover. This can also do quite a bit of damage to his team. And I'm analytic just because I didn't feel like Tracer Download were necessary, and getting off, because his entire team, as you can see, is pretty fast compared to P2. I will be pretty much constantly getting off analytic boosted Ice Beams, Thunderbolts, Charge Beams, stuff like that. Next, we have a interesting Kyurem set. It's a Adamant Kyurem with a Z Freeze Shock, Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, and Roost. The reason why I'm Adamant and not a Mixed Nature is because Ice Beam is literally there for the Zygarde, and it still OHKOs like even max HP, and even Arrow, if it's not a bulky spread, I believe still dies to Ice Beam after rocks. The plan is to pass +2 speed in the Kyurem. As you can see, he doesn't really have a whole lot of responses to +2 speed Kyurem. And then finally, we have a Rocky Helmet Blastoise with Spin, Mirror Coat, Scald, and Ice Beam. Mirror Coat's there for the Nature's Madness, otherwise I cannot touch Finny at all. But I've gone over my team for, you know, a little bit, almost 5 minutes now, so let's hop right into the game. So my plan is to lead off with Scolipede. Scolipede was always my lead, because, again, like, even before team preview, I knew Scolipede was going to be my lead, and especially with what team he brought, T-Spikes are going to be very important here. So So right here, he's going to actually lead off with his Mienshao. And I'm debating going for Protect here or T-Spikes, but I honestly thought he might switch here. But he reveals the Scarf Rock Slide and actually misses, and that miss will turn out to be pretty big, as I go for a T-Spike here. And I obviously get my speed boost. I'm going to just fire off a Protect right here because I calc it, and Rock Slide does not 2-hit KO my Kyurem. So possibly, after I get this +2 speed, I can go into my Kyurem and then potentially start a mini sweep, if not a big sweep, depending on what kind of Darm he is. So right here, I'm going to go for the Baton Pass, go into my Kyurem Black. I can take 2 Rock Slides, guaranteed, and I should be able to outspeed this Mienshao after +2 speed, even if it's Jolly Scarf, because I did calculate it, and I was like, okay, I will outspeed this thing. Except I apparently calced it wrong in my team building, and I missed outspeeding it by 16 EVs. So that's a damper, and I go for the Fusion Bolt here because I don't want to burn Z Free Shock. I know it won't kill, but it'll do a ton of damage, as it lives on about 10%. And right here, I probably should have just sacked off Kyurem, but he's actually going to switch into his Aerodactyl, as I switch into my Registeel, because he was locked in the Rock Slide. So really unfortunate about the not outspeeding thing, because I could have had Kyurem at least higher health, if not also had killed the Mienshao or at least one other thing. So right here we're going to do the exchanging of rocks, which means if I can't spin away these rocks, Kyurem's going to be dead, but I do have a plan. So he's going to fire off an Earthquake here, and because I'm max defense, I will eat up that Earthquake rather well, as I'm going to fire off an Iron Head, and this Iron Head damage shows that he's, I think, a little bulky. I'm not like quite sure, because Registeel is pretty weak, but that is still a stab super effective Iron Head, and Aerodactyl isn't exactly the most bulky thing in the world. So I'm going to fire off a Seismic Toss just in case he wanted to go into the Finny, as that would do more damage than Iron Head would by a lot if it was Fizz Def. So right here he's going to go for the Roost, and that's why I believe I didn't actually calc to see how bulky this arrow was, if it was bulky at all, but just by the fact that Iron Head's not doing nearly as much as I thought it would, and the fact that he has Roost, I'm assuming he's at least a little bulky on the arrow. So right here I'm going to go into my Blastoise, because if he goes for an Earthquake, then that's going to do like nothing, and if he like wants to keep his arrow healthy, then obviously he's going to go for the Roost. So Blastoise is my best play, and I can get off a spin here as he goes into the Finny. Now I have an interesting play to make here. Nature's Madness is affected by Mirror Coat, or Mirror Coat is affected by Nature's Madness. So if he goes for the Nature's Madness here, I can just fire off a Mirror Coat and Oko the Finny. However, I can also predict the Nature's Madness, go into my Kyurem, and that would also cover the play of him possibly defogging as well. So I decide that Kyurem is my best play, because I also want to keep my Blastoise pretty healthy for the Darm, because if it is a Scarf Darm, that is a little concerning, as I'm going to go into the Kyurem here, as he does actually indeed go for the Nature's Madness. So I did get that play right. Again, he was either going to go for a defog there if he had it, or Nature's Madness. There was no way he was clicking like an attacking move, like if he was going to get damage off on Blastoise, it was with Nature's Madness. So right here I have another interesting play to make. I honestly thought he would switch out, but even if he didn't, Z Free Shock was my play, because I would either kill something on entry, as like Rocks plus T-Spikes would kill, even Darm would die after a round of Poison, I believe. It might actually just die to Z Free Shock, I'm not sure. Or if he stayed in, which is, this is his only thing that takes said Z Free Shock, I would get a huge amount of damage off on this thing, and that all would be good. So he's going to just fire off a Moonblast here and kill me off. So, you know, if I would have clicked Fusion Ball, I could have possibly, I think I would have killed this thing, judging off that Z-free shock damage. It would have been close, but I do get a lot of damage on Finny, pretty much make this thing useless, and Finny is a pretty big threat to my team, as I brought a pretty passive team in terms of, I mean, they can set up, like the P2 and the Musharna can set up, but at the same time, they don't really, like, taunt stops Musharna. P2 doesn't really want to get weakened by Nature's Madness, so getting rid of the Finny was #1 priority. Well, kind of. Weakening the Finny was #1 priority. So right here, I go into my Scolipede, get the Poison Jab kill, and then he's going to go into Zygarde. Unfortunately, I think there's one more turn of Misty Terrain, so if I had gone for Protect, I could have possibly made the Zygarde take a round of poison. However, if he could have also just went straight into the Zygarde trying to preserve Finny, so Poison Jab was my play there. Here he reveals to be banded with E-Speed, and he does over half to my Scolipede because my Scolipede has no bulk investment or little. So right here I'm going to Baton Pass the speed into my Porygon 2, and the reason I didn't Protect there to get another speed boost is because, again, I didn't know whether he was banded or DD at that point, which then I found out right away that he was banded from that E-Speed damage. But he's going to go into Arrow, and I don't honestly know without Analytic if that Ice Beam would have killed, because again, I'm not like certain of the arrow's bulk. But right here, I don't outspeed this Mienshao, obviously, and I don't really want to take an HJK because this is my Zygarde check. I mean, I have so many Fizz Def mons that I really can check Zygarde with anything, but I want to keep P2 as the main Zygarde check. Musharna here will be the Mienshao check, and also his Mienshao was meant to be Regenerator, and it ended up being Reckless, I believe, or Inner Focus, I don't know. All I know is it wasn't Regenerator, and because of that, not being Regenerator, after Rocky Helmet damage, it will die to Poison, and that is another kill for Scolipede. So right now, Mono Poison Jab Scolipede has 2 kills, which is rather interesting. And he's going to go into Darm here. I have actually, I'm going to stay in and fire off a Psy Shock just in case he was Belly Drum. Not that Belly Drum could beat me from that point, as I can, if he was Salic, I could Protect on him and possibly even kill him with Poison, and then outspeed him the next turn. And also with Poison and Rocky Helmet, there is no way he was getting more than 1 kill, if any kills at all. So I could have probably like Moonlighted up there, but I decided to just fire off a Psy Shock here, as it's going to do quite a bit to this Zygarde. By quite a bit, I mean about 25%, revealing that he's also not very bulky, like, at all. So right here I'm going to switch out of my Musharna into my, again, my best Zygarde check on my team, which is Porygon. Again, Banded Zygarde wasn't too much of a problem this game because, like, Musharna could take 2 hits. Porygon 2 can take, it looks like 3,000 arrows. Outrage is a kind of, I think, is a possible roll. But again, I have so many Rocky Helmets mons back in the back, and like, if he clicks Outrage, Registeel is the freest switch into my life. So right here, he's going to go into Evire, as I believe I go for the Recover here. Yep, I do go for the Recover. Porygon 2 is just proven to be a nuisance. If this is physical Evire with like Cross Chop, I believe actually won't even come close to 2-hit KOing me. Well, maybe not even close, but it won't 2-hit KO me unless he's like banded. But he actually proves to be special here, and this Focus Blast is going to do actually about half. It might have been, I'm not sure what the rolls were, but then he also gets the Spadef drop. So I obviously don't want to lose my P2. Again, my best Zygarde check can still take a hit from Zygarde. So I'm going to switch out into my Musharna, as Musharna is not really doing much anymore. Like, I have Blastoise for the Darmanitan, and I have P2 for the Zygarde, so I really don't need this Musharna at all anymore. So I'm just going to sack it off to the Evire. I could have possibly made a prediction on the previous turn, not on that turn obviously because he clicked Flamethrower, predicted another Focus Blast and gone into the Scolipede to just get another kill, but I didn't want to risk that because Scolipede can potentially just win. So right here I'm just going to go for the Poison Jab, finish off this Electivire pretty easily, as it was very weakened, and I think I was told it wasn't like any bulk at all, or the damage told me that it was like Assault Vest. So Assault Vest for my Circuitry, which Circuitry was actually a pretty big threat in this game. I was actually thinking about bringing it, but like I just like this 6 months I brought better. I didn't really want to bring Circuitry over like Kyurem Black, and I didn't want to take away from my defensive core of 3 Rocky Helmet Mons and a P2, so I decided Circuitry was just not worth having. And it turned out pretty well because he had Banded Zygarde with E-Speed, he had a Assault Vest Electivire that could take 1+3 hit, so it just ended up being a good bring, or a good decision not to bring. So right here I'm going to go into my Blastoise as I know he's locked into the Banded E-Speed, and he actually doesn't kill himself to recoil, which means that is yet another kill for my Scolipede, which puts it at 4. And right here, he's going to go into his Darmanitan. Now, really, honestly, if I was ballsy enough, I could have gone into my Scolipede and racked up a 5th kill, but he could have also just been Banded Flare Blitz and tried to kill me with Banded Flare Blitz, so I wasn't like 100% sure whether he would go for Superpower or Flare Blitz here. So he's actually going to die to his own Life Orb recoil, which means no kill for Scolipede, no kill for any one of my Pokemon. So we only get a total of 5 kills, 4 for Scolipede, 1 for P2. But yeah, that was I can't speak. That was a good game. Bit unfortunate on the Kyurem mistake, but yeah. And RTK brought some cool stuff. Like he brought the AV Electivire for the Circuitry. He brought Banded Zygarde for the Baton Pass. He brought the Scarfed Minshao just to outspeed some of my slower stuff after it gets Baton Pass into. So like and I ended up obviously outspeeding my Kyurem, which wasn't supposed to, but it still outsped the Kyurem. So he brought some cool stuff, definitely. But luckily the 3 Rocky Helmet Mons plus the FizzDef P2, like I brought basically 3 or 4 FizzDef Mons. Registeel was careful, but it was max defense EV wise. Musharna was modest, but again, max defense EV wise. P2 and Blastoise were just max defense bold because, wanted them to take hits as well as possible. But, yeah, that's it for me. I don't have too much more to say. We do get another 4-0 win, so we move on to 2-1 plus 6, and I believe that puts us at first place in our conference once more. So that's always cool. Next week, I believe we play a Sinister Sableye and his Miami Dolphinis. So, he's not doing too well, I believe, but you can never be too wary of a team that's not doing too well because, any team can beat any team on any day because, some days, someone might play way better than they have been. Some days, hacks. There's a lot of factors in Pokemon. So, just because he's not doing too well this season does not mean I'm going to go easy on my prep and my end game plays. And hopefully I can fix whatever I've been doing wrong to my Kyurem the last 2 weeks between the slight misplays with it in my game versus Ethan and then the misprep with it here. Hopefully I can get back to that week 1 Kyurem form because that was a spicy Kyurem. So hopefully I can get back to that. But I've been rambling on long enough. Thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you want to keep up with all my league content, not just my TBU content. And other than that, not much more to say, guys. This has been your boy TrevCL, and I'm signing out. Peace, guys.